A young ringer with some steam of his own. A spotless red presses an old machine and hangs opponents out to dry. A static cling is recycled with softening powder and shines with a fresh start. With soap bubbles and suds, we brighten the entire load. So come soak it up, y'all, on This Week in Baseball.
TV 11.
National League Judgment Day. In New York, a showdown on the mound.
Today in particular, when you have the young guy Gooden is going for the Mets, whose bill is the New Express, and as I was just kidding Nolan a few minutes ago, I called him the local against the New Express, so we'll see how it turns out.
Dueling pitchers and a strikeout square-off. 19-year-old rookie sensation Dwight Gooden firing smoke for the Mets against Houston's 37-year-old Nolan Ryan, second all-time in strikeouts. The shooters were on target at first, but Gooden the Kid was soon outdrawn by Ryan the Quick and his gang. The Astro posse chased down Gooden with 8 runs in the 3rd inning. This shootout, but he displayed his firepower by striking out 4 in 2 1/3 innings before biting the dust. That left Ryan still standing as he struck out 7 and surrendered just 1 run to notch his first complete game this year and even his record at 2-2. The new kids in town still contended for the top of the East, but the old cowboy from Texas proved he wasn't yet ready to give up his reputation as fastest gunslinger in the West. In St. Louis, the Cardinals were ready to run, but they left their horses at home against San Francisco, which had just ended its longest losing streak ever at 9. The Giants found St. Louis sweet. Jack Clark was clicking. 8 for 10 against the Cards with 4 RBIs, his 4th home run, and his 3rd game winner. Manny Trio also feasted on Cardinal pitching wings. Trio tagged 5 hits and 10 at-bats over the 3 games. He also scored 4 times. Dusty Baker cooked up just 2 hits in the series, but one was a triple in the finale that accounted for Baker's first game winner this season. 23-year-old rookie Jeff Robinson gave up just 5 hits and struck out 6 in 8 innings without allowing a run, squaring his record at 3-3. Lasky picked up his first win of the year as Giant pitchers shut out the Cards for 23 straight innings. Gary Lavelle made 2 appearances and got 2 saves, numbers 4 and 5 this year. Lavelle did not allow a hit or a walk over 4 innings, and the Giants swept the series in St. Louis to give them 4 straight wins. In Chicago, the crusading Cubs kept looking like superheroes and took 2 heady games from San Diego. Padre reliever Sid Monge walked a man with the score tied in the bottom of the 9th, and manager Dick Williams got his bullpen going. Monge walked another intentionally, and Cub manager Jim Fry saw his team load the bases with 2 outs. The Padres decided to stay with Monge. a decision that pleased Cub fans because Monge fell victim to a mighty close call as he walked home the winning run. The next day, Williams was equally exercised, largely because of Chicago's Ryne Sandberg, who went 2 for 4 in the opener and 3 for 5 in this game. Once again, the score was tied, this time in the 10th. And once again, Williams decided to keep Goose Gossage in the bullpen. Once again, the move backfired as Ron Say faced Craig Lefferts and connected for his first game-winning hit this season. The Cubs took 2 out of 3 from San Diego and continued to contend for first place in the East. Cincinnati's Gary Reedus has been running wild so far this season. Reedus attempted 15 steals and was successful all 15 times, giving him the second highest total in the majors. Reedus and the resurgent Reds ran off at 10 wins in 11 games to charge into 3rd place in the Western Division. Now it's time for this week's Volkswagen quiz, brought to you by the 1984 models. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen. Pittsburgh's Marvell Wynn was a hitting marvel when the Pirates took 2 out of 3 from Los Angeles. Wynn walloped 9 hits and 17 at-bats against the Dodgers to raise his average more than 50 points to above 325. But more impressively, Marvell delivered 8 hits in a row. Now, for this week's quiz, can you name the 2 players who share the record for most consecutive base hits? Stay tuned for Pinky and the Moose. American League fun in the sun. In Toronto, a 3-game sweep of Kansas City was A-OK to the Jays. Dave Stieb was stupendous in the opener, pitching all 10 innings and striking out 10 for a 5-0 start this year. George Bell continued to sound off at the plate, ringing out 3 hits and 4 at-bats to keep his average near 370, second highest in the league. When Alfredo Griffin stepped up in the bottom of the 10th with Bell on 3rd and 2 out, manager Bobby Cox decided to gamble. Griffin beat out the bunt and squeezed home the winning run. Blue Jay bats stayed hot for the rest of the series. In Game 2, Jesse Barfield went 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs, and in the finale, he doubled with a score tied in the bottom of the 9th. Cox offered advice to designated hitter Cliff Johnson, and he took it. Royals manager Dick Hauser tried to counter, but to no avail, as the Blue Jays maintained the second-best record in the majors. In Baltimore, the Orioles flew into 3rd place behind the Jays by cleaning up with 11 wins in 12 games, including a tough 3-game sweep of Texas. Storm Davis poured it on the Rangers in Game 1. 5 perfect innings and a 3-hit shutout for a 2-0 mark this year. Reserve catcher Floyd Rayford had just 1 hit in the opener, but it was good for his first game winner of the year as the O's took it 2-0. The reliable Baltimore bench again came through in Game 2. John Shelby batted as a pinch hitter and delivered his first home run of the season. Benny Ayala also pinch hit, and the Orioles were looking for a repeat shot. And sure enough, Ayala homered too. The 29th time in big league history, a team has hit 2 pinch hit homers in 1 game. Manager Joe Altobelli relied on his regulars to complete the sweep. Cal Ripken wrapped 4 hits and 5 at-bats in the finale, driving in 2 runs and cracking his 9th home run. Mike Boddicker pitched his second straight complete game for his second win. This one a 5-hitter, as the Orioles found their old magic and recovered from the worst start in Baltimore history to go above 500. Soaring above them all were the Detroit Tigers, who came to Cleveland and stayed on the warpath. With a 25-4 start, Detroit could do no wrong, while Cleveland had trouble doing it right. The Tigers even made misplays into great plays. Detroit buried the Indians with 21 runs on 35 hits in a 3-game sweep. Detroit also dusted off the Indians from the mound with some strong relief. Willie Hernandez earned his 3rd save this season. In the series, Hernandez worked 7 innings and struck out 6. Aurelio Lopez got his 3rd win and 3rd save as the rip-roaring Tigers won their 14th road game without a loss. At Fenway Park in Boston, the Red Sox were out to stop a 4-game win streak by the rough-and-ready White Sox. Still scraping for his first American League victory was Tom Seaver, and he got it. Next time out, he got 2 wins in 1 day, completing the most time-consuming big league game ever, 8 hours, 6 minutes, and a 25-inning 7-6 win over Milwaukee, and then starting the regular game. Richard Dotson made it 6 Chicago wins in a row the next day by collecting victory number 4 against 2 losses this season. But the Sox averted a whitewash in the finale with a heads-up pitching performance by Bruce Hurst, who had a no-hitter going through 7 innings. Hurst ended Chicago's streak with help from a solid Boston defense. Ended up with a complete game 2-hitter and raised his record to 4-3. Now, let's raise the answer to this week's Volkswagen quiz. Walter Moose Dropo tied the mark for most consecutive hits with 12 when he played for the Detroit Tigers in 1952. Michael Pinky Higgins first set the record with 12 straight base hits for the Boston Red Sox in 1938. Dropo had a career batting average of .266, Pinky .292. Higgins later managed the Red Sox for 8 years, from 1955 through 1962.
This bud's forever.
Baseball can be a comedy of the absurd, because at times big leaguers should be seen and not heard. But in order to play, you've got to see the ball. So here's an eye full of misplays for one and all. Something in my eye, Coach. I would have caught the ball, but I couldn't see at all. Hey, I'm telling you, my eyes are in trouble. I think I'm even starting to see double. Yep, it's true. I'm now seeing 2. Oh, well, there's still more to see before we're through. Man alive and gadzooka. Check out the size of this bazooka. When big leaguers blow it, they blow it big. So let's see them blow some more. Okay, kid? tough. It's all tongue-in-cheek, so to speak. Time now to get a good look at some outstanding efforts in the field. Because most of the time when major leaguers put on their gloves, they do things that make you flip. Up first, Philadelphia's Mike Schmidt. Montreal Expo, Brian Little. Oakland's Tony Phillips. New York Met Ron Darling with a pretty pickoff. California's Dick Schofield. Ron Oster with a Cincinnati Circus catch. Bobby Clark, Milwaukee. Terry Harper, Atlanta Braves. The Expos' Darryl Thomas. Bob Dernier, Chicago Cubs. Steve Kemp, New York Yankees. The Boston Red Sox, Reed Nichols. California Angel, Freddie Lynn. Angel outfield mate, Gary Pettis. And finally, Detroit's Chet Lemon. Up and at 'em. Pitching for the New York Yankees this year is Phil Niekro, the Major League's oldest active player at 45. And he was off to a 5-1 start with an awesome 1.03 ERA. Niekro came up with the Milwaukee Braves and spent the next 20 years compiling 268 wins, all with the Braves. He did it with the pitch that is Niekro's trademark, the knuckleball.
My father taught it to me back in Ohio when I was in the 7th, 8th grade, 6th grade. When I became old enough to start playing catch in the backyard, he couldn't throw hard. All he could throw was knuckleball, so we used to play knuckleball in the backyard all the time. By the time I became a freshman in high school, I was a knuckleball pitcher.
The knuckler is mighty difficult to control, but Niekro throws it nearly every pitch with amazing accuracy.
I don't know if any knuckleball pitcher can say, I'm going to throw this knuckleball on the outside corner, the inside corner. I think basically he's trying to throw the ball over the plate, get some movement on it, and if he can do that, the batters are going to have to swing at it. If you get guys swinging at your knuckleball with a little bit of movement on it, you're going to be successful.
A 3-time 20-game winner, Niekro was indeed successful in the National League, and he's maintained that success with the Yankees in the American League, despite the media pressure of New York.
I'm a firm believer that when you go on the mound, no matter what's been written about you, or said about you, or talked about you, when you got the ball in your hand, or you're swinging the bat, or you're on the base, no newspaper article, no TV commentary is going to make you play the game well or play it bad. You have to do it yourself.
Niekro threw 21 straight scoreless innings, averaging more than 5 strikeouts per game so far.
I've basically come up here this year with the feeling that if I can cut my walks down, throw the knuckleball over the plate, and occasionally mix some other pitches in there, maybe I can catch that manager over there a little bit off guard more than he'd catch me off guard.
For Niekro, throwing the knuckleball is an elusive art that requires precise adjustments to control.
I'll find myself in the game or warm-up, just sit there and just kind of, I'll grip it and I'll throw a couple. If it doesn't feel right, I'll just go up there and just kind of play around a little bit until it feels good and pick at it and throw a couple more. If it feels good, then I'm all right.
But exactly how does Nuxie throw that baffling butterfly ball that dips and darts?
I'll lay these 2 fingers across the ball and just bring them back to me as far as I can and dig my fingernails into the ball like that. That's basically how I throw it, with the seam coming down between each finger. I can throw it here, I can throw it here, but I've got more control and I'm more effective with the ball coming in from here.
Phil's brother Joe, who throws knucklers for Houston, was the major's winningest righty from 1979 through 82, had 156 wins in 17 seasons.
Joe is probably a more complete pitcher than I am, for the simple reason he can throw 3 or 4 or 5 pitches over the plate, where I'm basically throwing one up until now, where now I'm starting to lose my head a little bit and starting throwing, you know, sneaking a fastball in there once in a while.
Now it's time for the Big Stick Player of the Week award, brought to you by new improved Old Spice Stick deodorant and antiperspirant. Cal Ripken is this week's winner. In Baltimore's 6-1 win over Texas, Ripken hit for the cycle, a single, double, triple, and home run. Last year's league MVP is not resting on his 83 batting laurels.
I'm trying to polish up my skills of hitting, maybe be a little more patient, maybe walk a little bit more, make sure you get your pitch. And all those things are learned through experience. You really can't go out and really work on things in batting practice like that.
Ripken hit the home run in the top of the 9th inning on his final at bat. Congratulations, Ripper. And that's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.
Now you fresh long into the